Nobody cares about your kids' doodles, Brooke said, pouring Pinot Noir onto Eli's painting. 4:15 p.m. exactly. My 6-year-old spent 3 days on that watercolor. Our lake, our cabin, a gift for Grandpa Richard. Red flooded the blue sky like a bruise. Eli didn't cry. He folded inward, like disappearing was safer than breathing. Brooke, drunk, shrugged. He needs a real-world lesson. Then the adults laughed. That laugh cracked something in me because it sounded like my childhood. So tell me, if your sister ruined your child's work in front of everyone, do you stay polite? Or do you torch the peace to protect your kid? Am I in the wrong? Comment city and time, and subscribe for what I did next. The second that wine hit the paper, time sped up and slowed down at once. One moment, Eli's painting was bright. Blue sky, pine trees, the curve of the lake outside the cabin. The next, it was bleeding. Burgundy flooding the page, buckling it, soaking through like the paper was trying to cry for him. And my sister Brooke didn't even flinch. No oops. No apology. She leaned over my kid, tipped her glass with lazy precision, and said, "He needs to learn the world doesn't care about his little doodles. It's taking up space." 3 days. That's how long Eli had worked on it. 3 days of him asking me, "Is the lake more green or more blue, Mom?" He wanted it perfect because it was for Grandpa Richard. Because my dad actually noticed him. My dad actually said, "I'm proud of you," like those words weren't dangerous. Brooke set her empty glass down on the wet painting, right where the sky met the water, and it made this soft, disgusting thud, like she stamped worthless onto it. Uncle Gary laughed from the sofa. "That's a $50 lesson right there. Toughen up or get eaten." And the room joined in. Not huge laughs. Worse, those casual chuckles people do when they're relieved the cruelty isn't aimed at them. Eli froze. He didn't scream. He didn't even ask why. He just stared, hands hovering above the mess like touching it would make it more real. His shoulders shook, but he kept his mouth shut. He bit his lip until it went pale, like he was trying to pack himself into a smaller version of himself. That's when it hit me. He wasn't looking for comfort. He was looking for invisibility. And I felt something cold tighten around my own throat because I recognized it. I wore that same invisible collar my whole childhood. Don't react. Don't ruin dinner. Don't make it worse. If you're quiet, the storm passes faster. I swear I could see the lesson landing in his little body. Pain is entertainment. Your feelings are inconvenient. If adults are laughing, you're supposed to laugh too, no matter what it costs you. Brooke poured herself more wine, like she'd done a helpful chore. "Megan, don't be dramatic," she said. "It's paper. I'm doing him a favor." That word, favor, made my stomach flip. Because it's always framed as help, isn't it? Humiliation with a smile, abuse with a lesson plan. I stood up. The chair legs scraped the wood floor so loud, it cut through the laughter like a blade. I didn't grab napkins. I didn't ask for a towel. I walked around the table and put my body between Brooke and my son. I could feel Eli's eyes on my back, like he didn't trust this was real. Like he expected me to fold, to apologize, to smooth it over. But for the first time in my life, I didn't feel the urge to fix the vibe. I felt clear, like something finally snapped into place. I looked straight at Brooke and said, "You enjoyed that." Her smile twitched. "Oh my God." "No," I said, voice flat. "You enjoyed watching a 6-year-old make something, and you enjoyed destroying it." And the room went quiet, like everyone suddenly remembered they had a conscience they'd been ignoring. That's when my mom, Linda, rushed in, but not to hug Eli. She grabbed napkins and started scrubbing the table like the wood was the victim. "Brooke, you're so clumsy," she chirped, voice too high, too sweet. Then she looked at me with that pleading smile. "Don't make a face. It was an accident. Let's just have a nice dinner." I remember thinking she wasn't confused, she was choosing, and my son was the price she was willing to pay. If this is already making you mad, hit like, because it gets worse. Brooke leaned back in her chair like she'd just delivered a TED Talk. "See," she said, nodding at Eli's ruined painting. He's too soft. You baby him, Megan. I'm teaching him how the real world works. My mom kept wiping and wiping, like if she polished hard enough, she could erase what we all witnessed. She didn't even look at Eli. She didn't say his name. She just kept negotiating with reality. We'll get him a coloring book, she insisted. One with stickers, okay? Everybody calm down. It's Labor Day. We're family. And I felt something in me go from hot to ice. Because I realized my mom wasn't protecting Eli. She was protecting the performance of a happy family. She'd rather sacrifice a child's dignity than risk Brooke getting upset and making a scene. So I stayed between Brooke and my son, and I said it again, slower, so she couldn't wriggle out of it. You enjoyed hurting him. Brooke rolled her eyes so hard I thought they'd fall out. Oh, please, it's paper. It was 3 days of his life, I said. It was pride. It was love. And you crushed it because you were annoyed. Uncle Gary cleared his throat like he wanted the conversation to die. My cousin Tessa stared at her phone, suddenly fascinated by the screen. That's the part people don't talk about, the crowd. The silent audience that benefits from someone else being the target. Linda finally looked up, eyes shiny with panic. Megan, honey, don't do this, she whispered. Just let it go. Let it go, the family motto. Let it go. Let her scream, let her insult, let her take, let her ruin. Just let it go, because if you don't, you become the problem. I turned to my dad, Richard, sitting at the head of the table. He'd been quiet the whole time, hands folded, jaw tight. Most people read his silence as agreement. I grew up reading it as restraint. And then, in this dead air moment, my dad stood up. Not fast, not dramatic. Slow, like an old beam finally giving under decades of weight. The chair legs groaned. The room changed temperature. He walked to the mantel where that cheesy wooden sign hung. Family is forever in cursive. He stared at it for a long second like he was doing math in his head. Then he turned back to my mom. You wiped the table, he said, voice low. You didn't check on the boy. You worried about the wood stain. Linda froze with a wine-soaked napkin in her hand. Richard, stop. I'm just trying to... You're trying to keep the peace, he cut in. But there is no peace. There's just silence. And I'm done paying for it. I swear the air got sucked out of the cabin. Brooke tried to laugh, but it came out thin. Dad, are you seriously mad over a painting? That's pathetic. My dad didn't look at her. He looked at his own left hand. Then he did something I had never seen in 40 years of watching my parents play their roles. He started taking off his wedding ring. It was stuck. He had to soap his knuckle at the sink and twist until his face pinched with pain. When it finally slid over his joint, it made this wet pop that turned my stomach. He walked back, held the gold band over Eli's ruined painting, and dropped it right into the puddle of wine. Thunk. I am done keeping your peace, he said to my mom. And I am done protecting you. My mom stared at that ring like it was a bomb. Brooke's eyes darted around the room, suddenly calculating. Because she could feel it. Something bigger than a ruined watercolor had finally cracked open. And I realized with this sharp, dizzy clarity, tonight wasn't about a kid's painting anymore. Tonight was about the entire family lie. If you're still with me, comment freedom right now. Because what happened next changed everything. My dad walked to his travel bag like he'd rehearsed this in his head 1,000 times. He unzipped it and pulled out a thick black leather notebook. Worn edges, creased spine. He set it on the table with a heavy thud, right beside the ring soaking in wine on Eli's painting. I've been a structural engineer for 40 years, Richard said, calm in a way that felt scarier than yelling. My job is to find cracks before a building collapses. I track failures. Then he opened the notebook. Neat handwriting, columns of dates and amounts, page after page. Brooke tried to laugh it off. What is this, an audit? I paid you back. You paid back nothing, he said. But that's not the point. The point is, I started tracking everything. My mom's voice trembled. Richard, please, not in front of everyone. Everyone needs to know, he said, and his tone finally sharpened. Because everyone laughs when Megan gets targeted. Everyone laughed when that boy got humiliated. Like they're weak. They're not. They're the ones paying the bill. He turned the book so we could see. Withdrawals labeled groceries and repairs, medical, business investment. And then he said the line that made my skin go cold. I hired a forensic accountant. Brooke's smirk faltered. My mom's face drained. He flipped to a page with receipts taped down. $5,000 for equipment, $8,000 for medical, $12,000 for a brand partnership. He didn't even look up. Lie, lie, lie. My mom started shaking her head, tears already falling. Stop, please, protect the family name. You didn't protect the name, my dad said. You protected a crime. He turned one more page. A police report was taped to the paper. My stomach dropped. The $174,000 wasn't for your brand, Richard said. It was hush money. Brooke froze. 3 years ago on Labor Day weekend. He continued, voice tight. Brooke drove home drunk from a party. She hit a parked car, and then she hit a 19-year-old girl walking her dog. The room went vacuum silent. She didn't stop, my dad said. She fled, a hit and run. My mom folded into sobs. Brooke's mouth opened and closed like she couldn't find oxygen. You took our retirement, Richard said to my mom, fury finally breaking through. You paid lawyers. You paid a settlement. You buried it. And then you let her sit here and mock a child for painting. Brooke snapped, desperate. It was an accident. Mom helped me. That's what moms do. Then she turned on me, eyes vicious. Unlike you, you're raising a weak little crybaby. I felt Eli flinch behind my legs, and something in me went painfully steady. I kept my body between them. My dad looked at Brooke, not like a father, but like an engineer staring at a condemned structure. Your power was rented, he said, and the landlord just shut off the lights. He laid one last document on the table. This cabin is in my name. Linda's name isn't on the deed. My mom gasped, You can't. Where will I go? I don't know, he said, voice flat. Stay with the daughter you invested in. He pointed to the door. You have 1 hour to vacate, all of you. Brooke grabbed her phone, opened her banking app, and went gray. It's declined, she whispered. As of 10 minutes ago, my dad said, I froze the accounts and reported the transfers as fraud pending investigation. Cards, business accounts, locked. Rain hammered the windows. Richard opened the front door and the wind roared into the cabin. Get out! Brooke's eyes finally landed on me, wide and wet. Megan, tell him he's crazy. I'm your sister. I looked at Eli's ruined painting, then at my son's trembling hands. And I realized the kindest thing I could do was stop rescuing her. You should hurry, I said. Traffic's going to be terrible. If that made your blood boil, share this. Because the aftermath is where the healing started. 6 months later, our lives didn't look perfect, but they finally felt safe. Dad moved into a small apartment with big windows and zero walking on eggshells energy. On a Saturday morning, I watched him kneel on a drop cloth with Eli, teaching him how to cut wood for a real frame, measure twice, cut once, like he was rebuilding something that should have been protected all along. Mom still mailed letters on fancy stationery, blaming me for embarrassing the family. I burned them in the sink. Brooke, she wasn't an untouchable queen anymore. Without the money pipeline, she had to face consequences, lawyers, and real life. No audience to laugh with her. And my son? He stopped shrinking. He started making art again, messy, loud, proud, because he learned he doesn't have to disappear to be loved. So tell me, honestly, am I in the wrong? For letting that night burn the family myth to the ground? Or was that the only way to save the people who were actually innocent? You're not alone here, okay? If you've ever had to break a bond to save yourself, drop freedom in the comments and hit like, share, and subscribe, because silence is expensive and I'm done paying for it.